Friday of 2023, and I am here to talk about reaching new markets. I have talked to a number of people in the last couple of weeks about changes in their own business, changes in their market. Um, a lot of small businesses, had a really difficult time in 2023, and those owners went back to being an employee. Definitely a couple of those. I know other people who are just tired of selling to people, businesses who just don't have the level of revenue to match the services that they're providing and are really looking to up level their market just in terms of the budget spend. And some people are saying, hey, I am great with my clients, but now I want to take those services to a new market. That could be another industry, it could be another region, it could be, maybe corporate. It could be a lot of different things. And so when we're thinking about needing to shift who we are targeting, who we are making ourselves known to, building relationships, GTM, going to market essentially, we have to figure out a plan. And that is what I'm going to talk about today as we are in the cusp of 2024. So, the first thing I would say is let me just repeat actually, just I think people are their businesses, the people that they're serving aren't there anymore. And maybe they need to maybe they need to expand, maybe they needed a budget. All right. The first thing that you're going to need to do, I'm going to just get to it. The first thing you're going to need to do is really establish criteria. Like we know that, but a lot of times we kind of forget. So the idea here is that, especially on LinkedIn, right? It is really easy to identify people in our market. Okay, I'm not saying it's easy to get them to become clients. That requires work and strategy. But at the end of the day, when you're going onto LinkedIn, there's roughly 20 different search criteria by which you can identify this new market that you're going after on LinkedIn. This is the free LinkedIn, not the paid, not Sales Navigator, but free LinkedIn. And that can include title, it can include location, it can include the types of services that they provide. It can include who they're connected to, and and more. And essentially, you're going to want to identify what is there's kind of two categories here: the searchable criteria, right? How do I use this tool of LinkedIn to actually identify who that person is? And then sort of like more characteristics or attributes, secondary search criteria. And I'm going to explain what that is in a second. So you've gone through, let's say you're targeting accountants in Los Angeles area, right? You're going to just be able to identify that based on what is self-reported by individuals on LinkedIn, right? But then you're going to get this list, and then you're going to have to really figure out, well, how do I know, out of this, probably very large list, how do I know who to build relationships with, right? We're not talking about the how yet, but we're talking about like, how do we even figure out who that is? One thing is, for example, you might just have to do a look on like gender, for example. You might want, if you only serve women accountants, for example, you need to take a read on that. If you want to know, let's say you're a social media manager, okay, and you know that people who already have marketing directors, for example, let's just say, don't hire people don't hire people like you, right? They don't need social media managers for whatever reason. You have historical evidence that shows, okay, if I find out of these, let's say 300 people, that at those companies they have a marketing director, I'm not going to target them, right? So what I'm trying to say is that you can then click on somebody's, company, look at the people at that company, right? Just going to go to LinkedIn page and then you're going to look at who's in there. And if you're like, boom, there's a marketing director, then maybe let's say maybe a better example is if let's say you're a, a um a fractional marketing director, right? You're not probably going to benefit from targeting a company that already has a marketing director, right? So if you're a fractional marketing director and you find accounting companies in Los Angeles and you can click on their page and see, oh, marketing director, then that's somebody you're not going to target, right? Wouldn't that make sense? This is the most important thing, right? This is the most important thing. And um, it takes time. It takes time. But if you can look historical evidence and say, okay, what has worked, what hasn't worked, then you can better do that upfront assessment. A lot of people don't want to do this work. A lot of people will just go on and just send it to everybody. And that's not going to actually benefit you. If you start connecting and targeting these specific people based on vetted criteria, what is that going to do for you? It's going to increase the chances that those people are going to become clients, right? If you go to this huge pool of people, you could just spend a little bit more time and get that to be a more focused list, right? It's common sense, but a lot of people feel like they're wasting their time or they get this sense that other people aren't doing that. But I'm telling you, this is really, really key to your success, because all of the time that you're going to spend afterwards is going to be based on the quality of the list that you have. All right. So that's step one. Just go onto LinkedIn.com, go to the search, and begin to identify who you want to reach out to. Okay. All right. Now, what do you do after that? All right. Well, here's what I want to share with you. I recently wrote an email or a post about this about volleyball. Okay. When I was in sixth grade, I played volleyball for a hot second. I was terrible. They had a new volleyball team and they were like, we just want everybody to join. And I joined and I was terrible and I was on the bench all the time and I was just, yeah, it was not good. But I did learn a very, very important thing about volleyball, which has served me today in my role as a sales consultant. Okay. So that is bump. What is it? Bump, spike, no, spot, set, spike. Okay, so bump is when since I'm on video, you're gonna kind of like watch, go, whatever, go to YouTube. But basically, there's like this thing where one player goes a bump, kind of gets this ball up into the air. And then the second person uses little fingers and spikes it up really high. And then the other person, either the third person, slams it across the net, right? So once you've identified your criteria, you're going to do bump, set, spike um, in your planning. And what that means really is you're going to connect, you're going to share content to nurture, and you're going to have converse, right? So you're going to connect, you're going to nurture that relationship, and then you're going to have a conversation. Okay. That's it. That's the work. All right. So on LinkedIn, you've identified your list, and then you're going to connect with those people. You're going to, I mean, I think it's quite simple. You just send a message and you say, hi, something personal about them, would love to connect. But we can have a separate conversation about what that literally looks like. And you are going to now, once you're connected, you have two primary benefits. Number one is on LinkedIn, right? One is they can see your content, right? And also you're able to message with each other. Okay. But we're not messaging and pitching or doing any of that. Right. So, but the concept here is that you're connecting, right? The bump, the set, the spike, you're connecting. They're going to see your content. You're going to comment on their content. You're going to learn about them. And then you're going to go into the conversation, right? That's the spike. That's the thing that's going to be really powerful in this go-to market plan of yours. Okay. Now, once you're in that nurture phase, you can do opt-ins. Maybe you want to get, can get their email address because then they can download your, your free free checklist, your free ebook, attend a webinar, whatever that looks like, right? And then, of course, getting into that one-to-one conversation based on who's engaging with your content, right? Who are the hand raisers? Who are the people that are engaging with that content? Go into that one-to-one conversation, and really just open the door to letting people know that you're there and you're hearing them and you're seeing them, and that you know you're there to answer their questions, to learn more about them. That's it. Okay. Now, what I would say is what is important here is that once you start the process, you have to keep going. You have to keep going, right? As my boss used to say, sales is follow up. Sales is follow up. So and I'll be transparent. There's so many times when I make a list and then I never follow up, right? I never continue that. So it is really important for those of you who are really looking to reach a new market, right? Establish that criteria, the searchable criteria, and then the secondary criteria. And then you're going to bump, set, spike, right? Connect, share that content consistently, offer those opt-ins, get them their hopefully on their email address. Then you can go to them and say, hey, I see that you downloaded, my ebook. What did you think? Or do you have any questions? Or, hey, I saw you you attended my webinar or registered for my webinar. Like, do you have any questions? Happy to have you there. Look forward to seeing you there, right? Getting into those conversations. Okay. Now, everyone's going to have a different sales cycle. Everyone's going to have a little bit of a different strategy, but that is, my friends, foundational. And I think that, 2024, it's all here for the taking. It's all here for the taking. You just have to do the work and you have to do the follow through. If you have questions about what I'm talking about, just send me a direct message. Ask me a question. I'd be happy to answer it. If you want to learn more about these concepts overall, about generating leads and converting them into clients specifically using LinkedIn, but also I'm a sales coach generally for service-based businesses. You can, again, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you find me. And you can see on the screen, there's a QR code. So you can subscribe to my newsletter, and that will put you directly in touch with the expertise that I share on a regular basis, and you can learn more. Next week, I'm going to have a brand new resource for everyone around this topic. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, if you hit the bell, if you DM me, if you subscribe, whatever, you're going to find that a resource available next week at the top of 2024. And I wish you all a wonderful, prosperous, abundant 2024. And that's it for today. So long for 2023. Ciao.